Hello everyone, this is Echo Machine Jedi here speaking, and here in this tutorial I will just teach you guys the very simple and basic idea of how to create a level in Unity. Just create, some terrain and get the player moving onto the actual ground, editing the terrain, things like that. But before we do all that, let's go over the UI of it, because UI is very important on how to find everything and edit everything around the level. So right now we're in the scene. The scene is generally all the work you'll be doing in creating your level. Right now it's very open, there's nothing in it, and all you have is the main camera and directional light. And speaking of directional light and main camera, this is the hierarchy. The hierarchy is all of the objects and things on the actual scene. Everything here will be here, and you can select it from here. For example, the main camera. The main camera is here, as you can see. Directional light is somewhere. I think it's up in the sky, actually. Nope, it's right here. So yeah. And speaking of all that other stuff too, this is the inspector. The inspector gives you details on any object you selected. So like the directional light, you have the position, rotation scale, lighting, all that, color, the type of light it is, all that is there. And same thing with main camera. Main camera has the same thing, the clear flags, background, the culling mask, the projection, all that stuff has all that. So yeah. Assets. The assets are all of the files you'll use to create your level, from prefabs to scripts to textures and AI, NPCs and character controllers. That will all be in your assets. You'll find all that in your assets folder. And so let's just get started in getting a terrain onto the actual scene. So if you right click on the hierarchy, it gives you a submenu for objects and effects and lights. We'll go into 3D object because that's where all of our stuff is. So you have cubes, spheres, capsules, cylinders, planes, all other stuff. But what we need is terrain. So here we go click terrain. And here we have our terrain. Our terrain right here is very, very big, because terrains are usually big in Unity, and because terrains are like what you're going to use in order to create the level that you will create one day. So here is our terrain right here, and as you can see now, you can see here right here, this is our editing tool for our terrain. So if you go on the right side here, if you look here in these menus, these are the menus you can use to edit the actual terrain. So you have the neighboring terrains, the paint terrain, paint trees, paint details, terrain settings, which gives you more depth into editing the terrain right here. But right now we're just focusing on editing the terrain. Give it some detail, give it some, some life into it. So right now let's go into the paint terrain. So paint terrain, here in paint terrain we can also have other menus here, other ways to paint in the terrain. We have raise or lower terrain, paint holes, paint textures, materials, set height, smooth height, all that jazz, all that good stuff. So right now let's just start editing. So right now what I'm going to do is, what I usually like to do is, this is a fun way of getting started. I like to raise the terrain. Just raise the whole terrain. Just raise it. Just raise it. Just raise the terrain. So yeah, so raise the terrain. Let's bring it back. Let's lower the brush size right here. Let's lower the brush size. Yeah, right here. And lower the opacity, because the opacity is how powerful you want the tool to be. So right now I put it at 100, so it's very, very powerful, as you can see. So right now we can start editing and playing with it. So right now I've raised or lower terrain selected, and now I can actually start playing with the terrain. So what I did was I raised all the terrain, right? So if you hold on shift, and left click, you can give the terrain, you can start pushing down onto the actual terrain. and you can use different tools to do so. So right now I have one of these tools selected, and it gives you like some gaps and stuff like that into the terrain. So yeah, you can create holes and stuff like that, create things, you know what I mean? You can let's see, you can raise the terrain, play around with it and stuff. So right now I'm gonna create just a little border around our world. Just a little border. Let's play with some. Let's give it a different style. Let's give it some border. Go around, just go around. Let's start playing around with some other stuff. So right now we'll just smooth the height. Let's just smooth it. Let me raise the opacity just a little bit. Start playing around, smoothing it. Thought I raised a little bit more actually. Yeah, just smoothing it out. Smooth out the little gaps. Yeah, I got some cool slopes going on right here. Got some very cool slopes going on around here. So now I'm gonna actually play a little bit with it a little bit more. You know, give it some more detail. Hold on, shift. Push down. Actually, let me use this one right here. Hold on, shift. Oh, wait. That's why raise. Hold on, shift and push down onto the terrain. Push down on it. And just give it some more detail. And I can just go and smooth that out. Alright, so now that I got something going on around here. I got something going on around here. So now that we have something happening around here, hang on, let me just actually, one more thing. Let me just raise this real quick. So the player cannot see what's happening around here. Just raise it. Alright, I got something happening around here. So now let's go and get a player onto his actual game world and start roaming around here and getting things done. So what you want to do now is go into the standard assets folder right here. You can get the standard assets folder from the Unity site. So now go into standard assets here, go into the characters, third-person characters, the prefabs folder right here, and put a third-person character onto the actual scene right here. So throw him on right here. If you zoom in here he is. But now we gotta make sure the camera can see that, because right now the camera sees this. It just sees this because it's not anywhere near our character. So what you want to do now is go to the position in the inspector and copy and paste its position onto the main character. So copy and paste. As you can see in the camera review, it's changing. So now I gotta get the other parts. Copy and paste. One more. Copy and paste. So right now, where is our character? Where is our camera? Camera's right there. Hang on. Still need to make sure. Oh, that's why. EX copy. Alright, so here's our camera. Now let's just get it out from there. Bring it up. Push it back. Here he is. And now you want to tag the camera onto the main character. So the camera follows the main character now. So now the camera is part of the main character. So now if you move it, here, the camera's following the main character. And if you go into the game, you can see that the camera is now facing the main character. So now let's go and play and run it. Oh, here's our character right here, and you can move if you use WASD, WASD, you can move forward, left, right, move around. You can just play around, look around it. Look around the world we created right here. This little world we created. See some of the things, the little gaps right here. You can just run around and jump. Just play around here. Just look around. Oh, beautiful. Oh, beautiful. You see this huge gap we created and stuff. There's a lot of different ways to design a level, whether that is playing with terrain or adding textures or adding other prefabs to the world. There's a lot of different ways to create levels and stuff, but this is like the basic idea of designing a simple level for the player to create and run around in and stuff. So yeah, and if you do want to export this, you can always build it, and to do that you want to go into the file and click build settings. When you want to build it right here, you click build, and you can select it onto any folder that's open, and just click select folder, and it will automatically build the entire game. So yeah, this is the basic idea of just creating a level, getting a level actually like created and running right here. So yeah, you guys can take care and see you later.